When we see a halal logo on a product, we're putting our trust in that brand. But have you ever wondered who's inside the company, making sure that trust is earned every single day? Well, that person is the Halal Supervisor. And today, we're going to dive deep into what this absolutely critical role is all about. So, what does a halal supervisor actually do? I mean, we've all heard the title, right? But what does it really mean to be the guardian of a company's halal integrity? It's so much more than just a label on an org chart. We're talking about a highly skilled professional role with a super specific set of responsibilities.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we're going to break it down. We'll look at the Halal Guardian's main role, then how they build the entire system, what their daily watch looks like, how they handle things when they go wrong, and trust me, they sometimes do, and finally, how they do their own internal checkups.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the Halal Guardian's role. So, who are they really? What's their core mission inside a company? The best way to think about them is as the company's internal halal officer. The official term in Indonesia is Penyelia Halal. And their job? Oh, it's huge. They have to oversee the entire halal product process, or PPH. We're talking from the second raw materials come in the door, all the way to the finished product hitting the shelf. They are the ones on the hook for all of it. And look, this isn't some vaguely defined job where you just kinda watch things. No way. The whole profession is built on 6 core technical competencies. These are officially standardized by the Indonesian government, so everyone, and I mean everyone, is playing by the exact same rules. And here they are. These 6 units, they aren't just a boring list. They're literally the blueprint for the supervisor's entire job. And actually, we're going to use this exact framework to walk through everything they do, from laying the groundwork to constantly making things better. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Section 2, building the halal system. You see, before a supervisor can, supervise anything, they first have to build the entire system. And yes, this is the part with a lot of crucial paperwork. This whole foundation building stage really comes down to the first 2 main competencies. Step 1, creating the company's official rulebook. And step 2, meticulously checking every single ingredient that comes into the building. All right, so that first unit is all about creating what's called the Halal Product Assurance System Manual, or SJPH. Basically, the supervisor has to map out every single thing the business does. Then they have to find all the halal critical points, the spots where something could go wrong and cause contamination. After that, they write the official company Bible on how to manage all those risks. Next up, Unit 2. And honestly, this is where things get really tough for a lot of companies. The paperwork. The supervisor has to create a master list of every ingredient. I'm talking raw materials, additives, even the stuff they use to help with processing. And for every item on that list, they have to hunt down and, this is the key part, verify the validity of its halal documents. It's all about being able to trace everything back and prove it's compliant. So once that foundation is laid and the rulebook is written, the supervisor's job completely shifts. They go from being the architect to being the active guardian. This is the daily, on-the-ground work of protecting the entire process. And this really gets to the heart of their daily grind. This third competency is all about preventing issues like kontaminasi silang, which is just a fancy term for cross-contamination. Their goal is to stop it before it can ever happen. That means they're constantly watching the facilities, the equipment, even the people, making sure nothing compromises the integrity of the process. So what are they watching? Well, it boils down to 4 key areas. They're making sure material procurement sticks to that approved master list. They're watching how materials are handled and stored so nothing gets mixed up. They're supervising the actual production process to ensure it's compliant. And finally, they're checking that the finished products are stored the right way before heading out the door. Okay, but let's be real. What happens when, even with all this planning and watching, something goes wrong? Because perfect systems don't exist. This brings us to a super important part of their job, crisis management. This is where the pressure is on. A mistake has been made. A contamination has happened. You've got a halal accident on your hands. So now what? Well, the official standard has a name for this. It's a non-compliant product. Basically, it's any product made with unapproved stuff or made in a facility that's been contaminated by something haram or najis. And dealing with this exact scenario is what the 4th competency is all about. When this happens, protocol is everything. The supervisor's training kicks in. First, they have to trace the problem all the way back to its source. Then, they deal with the product itself. That might mean separating it or even disposing of it. And finally, they have to document every single detail of the incident. It's about containing the damage, sure, but it's also about learning so it never happens again.
Right, so stopping a crisis is one thing, but how do you stop it from ever happening again? That leads us perfectly into the final phase of the supervisor's job, the internal checkup.
Think about it. You can have the best rulebook in the world, the most dedicated team, but how do you really know if the system is actually working? How can you be sure? Well, you can't just hope. You have to test it.
And that test is the internal audit. This is competency number 5. Here, the supervisor becomes a detective. They systematically search for what's called bukti penerapan, which is just evidence that the rules are actually being followed. And they're looking for ketidaksesuaian, or any areas of non-compliance. It's basically a company's self-assessment to find the weak spots before an external auditor shows up. Which, of course, leads us right into the final 6th competency. It's simple, really. The audit finds the problem, the follow-up makes sure it's fixed, and fixed for good. These last 2 skills are a package deal.
So after the audit is done, the supervisor looks at all the findings. They check to make sure a corrective action was taken. That means fixing the problem right now. But here's the most important part. They also validate the preventive action. That's the change they make to the system itself to stop the problem from ever coming back. It's this whole cycle of auditing and taking action that makes the entire system stronger over time. So when you put all 6 of these pieces together, you see it's not a straight line. It's a continuous cycle. The Halal Supervisor is constantly building the system, guarding it every day, and improving it through these crucial internal checks. And that brings us right back to where we began. Yeah, the Halal Supervisor's role is super technical. It demands real expertise in documents, production lines, and auditing. But when you strip it all the way, you have to ask, is it just a job? Or is it something more? A daily, personal commitment to honoring the trust that millions of us place in that little halal logo.